Welcome, everyone, to episode 31 of the Louisiana Divebomb podcast. And we just got off a crazy weekend of racing for the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series at Watkins Glen. History making all around, if you think about it. So the Cup Series went, and immediately on lap one, we had instant carnage with Corey Lajoie taking out Kyle Busch. Also wiping out a few playoff drivers as well. Denny Hamlin, Christopher Bell, Ryan Blaney. I mean, Styles was involved. He knocked out a camera, but he wasn't a playoff driver. And from that, really, that kind of set the tone for the race. Well, actually, even the qualifying session prior, it set the tone because of how many guys in the playoffs were making mistakes. Like the top 10 in qualifying, I couldn't fathom. There was no Larson, there was no Bell, there was no Blaney, there was no Elliott, there was no Hamlin, no Truex, no, not, like, it was just absurd. Well, I think Truex might have been in there. I could be wrong. But, yeah, overall, it was a wacky weekend, and that's what started the race in the bus stop. So, Corey LaJoie kicking things off once again. Now, Ryan Blaney somehow lost steering after that wreck. I don't know how he got hit, the way that he got hit, to where the car just was unable to turn. But he was out after that, so that's kind of a big blow already. Stenhouse was already out from the race as well, so that hit to the inside guardrail. Well, it's heading into the carousel, so it might be the insider outs. I don't know. He was involved in that. Allmendinger was involved in the accident as well. He was done 6 laps in, so that's just unfortunate there. Yeah, it was a very intriguing race to say the least because of the different like there were so many different strategies going on, and guys that you don't usually see up front, like Carson Hocevar was up front, Corey LaJoie was up front for the second half of the race. We had Zane Smith up there. We had, well, Michael McDowell you expect up there, but no, Gragson was up there as well. Like that there's just names that just don't belong there. You don't usually see running up front at the road courses. So it was kind of refreshing. So let's go ahead and get into... Oh, well, I must have missed that part then. I don't know how that occurred. Oh, no, I do know how that occurred. Never mind. Wait, how did that occur? It says there was a wreck with... I must have missed that. Larson, Keselowski, Hamlin were caught up in a wreck. I literally must have missed that. I don't know what happened. There was football on during the race, so again, it's going to be tough to watch the race and watch football at the same time, especially since all of us area boys we got our bets in. We got fantasy football to keep an eye out for. So racing's kind of going to be temporary, secondary, I should say, for the rest of the year with football being back. But I do want to get into the main talking point, at least from us collectively. The caution with 10 to go, Harrison Burton cutting a tire on the backstretch, or the furthest part of the racetrack, heading into the bus stop. He just about made it back to pit road, and then the caution came out for debris that came off his tire. I can't tell you how agonizing it is, regardless if it's Cup, Xfinity, or trucks, where we have a late race caution, and then for some reason everyone just gets really dumb and makes stupid moves, and we see wrecks after wrecks after wrecks, and it's really getting to the point where I'm annoyed with it. Like, I know it's not a phantom caution. There was actual debris that was being scattered all over the place from Harrison Burton, but it's like, can we just finish a race without needing a BS green white checker? I'm getting to the point where it's just all too much. Like, the playoffs already really don't care for now, it being in the 10th or 11th year or whatever the hell it is. And then having a late race caution for some sort of tomfoolery that was going on, where you couldn't have done that in the other first half of the race, but you had to do it before the white flag or like coming towards it. Really? Don't know how it happened, but he cut his tire. There was debris everywhere, so we had to get another mumbo jumbo restart, and lo and behold, we didn't get the wreck We didn't get the big one where it took out 20 cars like they wanted, but we had 2 cars wreck. It was Keselowski and Byron, and Byron's car, I mentioned it a few weeks prior at Daytona. If for the next gen car, for some reason, if they hit the left rear tire, left rear, right rear, don't matter, they hit that at the precise angle, that acts like a ramp, almost like, IndyCar or F1 with their open wheel cars. Like if they hit the tire at the right angle, it turns their car into a launch pad and they go up in the air and flying. We saw that at Daytona, and the most notable thing that I can compare it to is Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch at the Texas All-Star race in 2022. Like, Kyle Busch had a tire go down, Ross went to avoid him, he clipped his left rear, and it just launched his car into the air. So that's what we saw with William Byron. His car launched in the air and was actually on top of Brad Keselowski's left rear for quite some time, had a big dent in it, like a big hole in the left rear. Very odd, and the onboard of Byron's shot was crazy because for a split second, I'm pretty sure he thought he was going into the fence and into the infield or the camping area. So that was a bit of an absurd one, but again, 2 playoff drivers were caught up in that, so I guess they got what they wanted out of that. Then we had another restart where Tyler Reddick crashed, Kyle Busch crashed, Chase Elliott and Josh Berry were in the wall, and they were just beating him bang. It's just a mess, an absolute mess. I think 12 playoff drivers were caught up in some sort of shenanigans, tomfoolery, whatever you want to call it. Then we had a final green white checker attempt, thank God. Chris Buescher, didn't even mention it, throughout the second half of the race, he had the better long run car, and looked like he was going to win by 4 seconds before the Harrison Burton caution happened. It bunched everything back up, which that actually worked out for Shane Van Gisbergen, who restarted behind him and then was able to make a move in the turn 1, got him a little bit squirrely out of the way, and he took the lead. And fast forward to the final lap, and Shane Van Gisbergen, he's doing everything he can, but Buescher's lost too many races this year. I said that he's not letting this one get away. There's no way. So he's closing in on him through the backstretch. Then they get to the bus stop. Now, they removed the curbing heading into the bus stop. I guess it's to make the cars, the drivers more safe because of the amount of G-forces they had when they hit it. So it's kind of a smoother transition. And throughout the race, I started to notice some guys were getting a little close to that inside guardrail heading into the bus stop, trying to cut it as close as they can because you carry so much more speed into it. And lo and behold, on the last lap, Shane Van Gisbergen, he carried a little bit too much speed, turned a little bit too tight, clipped the inside wall. That got his car all wibbly-wobbly in the bus stop. Here comes Chris Buescher to the bumper, to the inside, contact, and around he goes to the lead. Then they're heading into the final corner, and Shane Van Gisbergen, he has to save his car. He didn't even get a chance to really send it for the lead. He had to save his car from careening out of control in the Chris Buescher, and he ended up losing a race because of that. And finally, Chris Buescher wins a race in 2024, but not only that, it's his first road course win. He has been on a tear on these road courses really since the next gen came into play. I think he's had a top 10 in all but 2 road course races in the next gen era. It's insane how good he's become on these road courses. So Chris Buescher finally gets the job done. He wins at Watkins Glen. Shane Van Gisbergen comes up close in second. I mean, that's one that got away. Just heartbreaking for that. And he even said in his post-race interview that he's angry at himself, but he still had a smile on his face. That's just, even when he's angry, he's still smiling. It's crazy. Like I mentioned, Carson Hocevar finished 3rd. I don't know how that happened. This finishing order is the most wacky finishing order I've ever seen. You would have thought this was out of a super speedway race with how many names are up here that you don't usually see up here. I didn't even mention this. Ross Chastain won the pole, and he dominated this race. He led 51 laps, and then somehow, some way, strategy came into play with one of the yellows, and it ended up thwarting his chance of winning, but he still finished 4th, and he had a very solid day. Zane Smith finished 5th. Like I mentioned, Zane Smith, I mean, really hasn't done good on road courses this year. I know he's done well in the past, but um, this was just kind of a shocker considering it's the playoffs and you expect playoff drivers up there. The highest finishing playoff driver, by the way, was Chase Briscoe. He finished 6th. He ran top 10 majority of the day. Very good for him points-wise. We'll get into that a little later. Michael McDowell, top 10. He finished 7th. We kind of knew that he was going to be a factor regardless. Corey Lajoie finished 8th after wrecking 5 guys on lap 1. Like, what? This finishing order is just ridiculous. Ryan Preece finished 9th as well, so there's your annual Ryan Preece is still here finish. He finished 9th. Austin Cindric had a very solid 10th place finish. Another playoff driver. Very good for him. Noah Gragson finished 11th. Then we get to some of the playoff drivers here, the notable playoff drivers like Kyle Larson. He wasn't inside the top 10 at all during that race. Well, actually, he was there for a few laps, but that was during cycle of green flag pit stops. So that was the only time he was up there. He finished 12th. Daniel Suarez, he had an okay race. He finished 13th, started 8th, did what he needed to do. Christopher Bell finished 14th after getting dumped by Austin Dillon. I didn't even mention that. He got dumped by Austin Dillon because he threw a block on him, and Austin Dillon wasn't having it. And it just so happened to be right in front of the pit entry, so that kind of thwarted his performance a little bit. Joey Logano finished 15th, so we don't have to worry about him. He's already locked into the next round. Todd Gilliland, solid 16th. Bubba, 17th. Didn't know he was racing, but good on you. Bowman finished 18th, and that's really kind of a bummer. He had a top 5 car, and then strategy just thwarted that. Chase Elliott, 19th. Truex Jr., 20th. Ty Gibbs, 22nd. Denny Hamlin, 23rd. He broke his toe link on that lap 1 incident. It took him all race to get back into it, but Denny Hamlin's not in a good spot right now. Harrison Burton, 24th, even after cutting that tire. Keselowski, 26th. Tyler Reddick, 27th. I thought he was going to drive through the field. He had the fastest 5-lap, 10-lap, 15-lap average. I'm like, okay, this guy's going to come through from 16th, and he's just going to cruise on to victory. Nope, that did not happen. He finished 27th. William Byron, 34th, and then Ryan Blaney, 38th. So those are all the playoff drivers and where they finished. And we had the Bristol next week where we look to eliminate 4 drivers. Now, who could be the 4 that are eliminated? Well, the bottom 4 right now, Denny Hamlin outside by 6 points. Brad Keselowski outside by 12 points. Martin Truex Jr. outside by 14 points. Harrison Burton outside by 20 points. Harrison Burton we kind of expected, but Truex being here, this is a little concerning. Keselowski also very concerning. And then extremely concerning for Denny Hamlin. His Atlanta strategy just threw his whole playoffs down the drain. Like, the whole entire season, he worked so hard for just to do nothing in Atlanta and still get caught up in the wreck. His strategy still just makes no sense to me, and he's going to get eliminated because of it. Or he could win like he did earlier in the year at Bristol. And, you know, those playoff points, I mean, that penalty that he had from TRT, that hurt him so much. He went from having the shot at the regular season title, which 15 bonus points, that could have been huge. He could have been +9 to the grid right now. Instead, he's -6, and he's had fines and point penalties. It's just all ridiculous. Now, Chase Briscoe, he really needed a good day. He did. He was pretty much the highest running playoff driver throughout that entire race. Finished, what did he finish, 6th? Or did he finish 8th? No, he finished 6th. He's +6 to the cutoff line. So is Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs didn't have a good day, so he's going to need to stay out of trouble. William Byron's +25. That wreck at the end definitely didn't help, but as long as he stays out of trouble at Bristol, should be good. Kyle Larson, +26. He finished 12th. If he could just finish, he'll be good. And Ryan Blaney, despite not even completing a lap at Watkins Glen, he is still +29 to the cutoff, so good on him. Chase Elliott, Tyler Reddick, they're both +30. Suarez, +36. I don't think anyone saw that coming. I definitely didn't see that. Bowman, +41. I didn't expect him to have that much of a gap either. Austin Cindric, +43. Huh? What? And then Christopher Bell, +46. I think he's already locked in to the next round anyway. Yeah, just a wacky Cup playoff race from Watkins Glen. We also had a race the previous day at the same racetrack for the Xfinity Series, in which Connor Zilisch got his first career pole. So, good on Connor Zilisch. I knew he was going to be a factor. I just didn't realize how much of a factor I knew he would be because, again, Shane Van Gisbergen just dominating on road courses. So it's like, okay, well, waiting on this guy to win. But Connor Zilisch came to play. He had the better car. He led 45 of 90 laps. So exactly half the laps in this race were led by the 88 of Connor Zilisch. Oh, I forgot to mention, he made his first start for Junior Motorsports. So as a junior fan, I am thrilled to see that. Yeah, so Connor Zilisch basically dominated this race. We went caution-free in the first two stages, and then we just started getting cautions all willy-nilly out of nowhere. Like, Allgaier stopped on the track for some reason. Matt DiBenedetto stopped on the track, and that's what really caused it, because after Allgaier's caution, we went 28 laps without a yellow, and then, yeah, DiBenedetto just got stuck. And then we started just spiraling out of control. We had a big wreck where we had a red flag, just a bunch of fluid on the racetrack, and then we had another yellow, and then the last restart was probably the most chaotic restart of them all, and it's really for what happened on the last lap. So Ryan Sieg and Riley Herbst are side by side now. I don't know why, but for some reason they're coming out of the S's and down the backstretch into the bus stop. But down that straightaway, for some reason, Ryan Sieg just turns into the 98, dumps him, and then creates this just chaotic wreck where grass is being kicked up. It's dust. You can't see anything. Guys are getting plowed into. They had to throw the yellow. It was a crazy crash. I thought, when I saw the hood of the 39 go up, I thought that was someone just flying in the air after getting hit, because that's just... It reminded me of that Road America wreck a few years back with Noah Gragson. He intentionally turned someone on the straightaway. Now, I don't know if Ryan Sieg intentionally turned someone. I don't know if he would do that. But Noah Gragson intentionally turned someone on the straightaway. They get in the grass, and then you can't see anything because it's just dust at that point. It's getting kicked up. And then guys are just plowing in there all willy-nilly, which was something similar to what we saw in Watkins Glen on Saturday. Nonetheless, the race ended under caution, meaning that Connor Zilisch is your winner. His first career Xfinity start, first driver to do so since Ty Gibbs, by the way, but first driver to win in their first career start after starting on pole. That's absurd. That is just ridiculously absurd. So, safe to say Connor Zilisch is going to be a fun driver to watch because he's had a lot of experience in different series, IMSA being one of them. They're more known for their lefts and rights through Sebring and Road Atlanta and even the Daytona 24-hour race. So Connor Zilisch is going to be a fun driver to watch over the next couple of years before he gets into the Cup Series. And some are saying he might get into the Cup Series in 2026, which it's like, okay, well, let's pump the brakes on that first. I know he's good and all. He's won a lot of ARCA races, but we got to give him a full year of Xfinity Series first, which, in my opinion, might be the best series, but also got some aggressive drivers in there that like to just go willy-nilly whenever there's wrecking. Sheldon Creed finished second again. Yep, he finished second again. Allmendinger finished third. Chandler Smith fourth. Very good finish for Smith. And then Shane Van Gisbergen was in this race also. He finished fifth. He led 14 laps, but him and Allmendinger kept coming into contact with each other during that last finish or that last restart. I guess Allmendinger was just tired of finishing behind SVG on these road courses, and of course SVG was winning almost all the road courses, so he was like, nope, I don't want you by me. Hey, I'm going to be the better colleague car today, okay? Ross Chastain was in this race, finished sixth. Parker Kligerman finished seventh, by the way. Kligerman had 3 gears. I don't know when he lost it, but he lost fourth gear at some point, so he only had 3 gears in his car, and he still finished top 10. Incredible. Jesse Love finished 8th, Logano 9th. Josh Bilicki, solid top 10 for him. Austin Green just missed out on another top 10. He's very good on these road courses, so you got to keep an eye on Austin Green whenever we go to the Charlotte Roval, assuming that he runs it. William Byron was in this race. He finished 12th. He led 16 laps, so the second most laps in the race compared to Connor Zilisch. Riley Herbst still finished 13th despite being caught up in that wreck. Ryan Ellis finished a solid 15th as well. Leland Honeyman finished 16th after having a yellow for him. Allgaier recovered to 17th, not so good there. Sammy Smith 19th. Sammy Smith had issues galore and still came out of it with a bigger points gap above Ryan Sieg at the cutoff line. And Ryan Sieg finished 22nd. So he, regardless, was going to have a top 10 day, turns into the 98, creates this crash he's caught up in, and now he needs a solid run at Bristol to win. Well, basically win his way in to the playoffs, which I don't think that's going to happen. Eric Almirola was in this race too. He finished 26th. Brandon Jones 28th. He wrecked out. Shocker. Mike Skeen wrecked out too. Another shocker. Jeb Burton. This was I saw this on Twitter. Jeb Burton was running 8th whenever the red flag happened after that big wreck. And for some reason, under that red flag, he had a oil cooler leak. So yeah, he was running 8th, and then under red flag, it just started leaking oil, which stinks. So he had his day ended under a red flag, and I don't think that's happened. Not that I know of in quite some time, maybe ever. Austin Hill, like you mentioned, he was caught up in that wreck, finished 33rd. Alfredo 34th, DiBenedetto 35th. Alon Day was in this race, but he finished 36th. He had brake issues. Kyle Sieg 37th, and Kyle Weatherman 38th. So that was that from Watkins Glen. We have Bristol this Thursday, I think, unless Arca's there. I don't know if Arca's there, but we have the trucks Thursday night. We have Xfinity Friday night. Dale Jr.'s back. He's going to win. Don't tell me otherwise. He is winning this race. And then Saturday, we have the Cup race, which actually, that's the elimination race from 16 to 12. But the Xfinity Series, this is their last regular season race heading into the playoffs. So, yeah, like I mentioned, Ryan Sieg, he's in a tough spot right now. He is currently minus 43 to the cutoff line. So basically, anyone on the outside of the bubble, their only way into the playoffs is with a win. So, going to be shocker there if we get a upset winner. Allmendingers, Sheldon Creed, Parker Kligerman, I believe they are locked in. I know Creed and Allmendinger are locked in. They're plus 140 apiece to the cutoff line. Parker Kligerman, he could have an issue, and we could have a new winner where he could fall outside. Sammy Smith, living on a prayer. Gonna have to try and just stay alive, really. And then the truck series we haven't seen since Milwaukee at the end of August, but looking at the playoffs right now, Ben Rhodes and Rajah Caruth are on the outside looking in. -2 for Rhodes, -4 for Rajah. Grant Enfinger +2, Daniel Dye +9, +13 for Taylor Gray and Tyler Ankrum. Everyone else, they're really good. +34 for Nick Sanchez, +41 for Corey Heim, +44 for Ty Majeski, and then +60 for Christian Eckes. None of the playoff drivers won at Milwaukee. That was Lane Riggs who did it. So we're heading to another short track, so we could see another win for old Lane Riggs. It's going to be a fun one. Make sure you check out HunterSleppyMedia.com. I just was baffled by how my picks just did not perform at the Glen for the Cup side of things. Xfinity side of things, they did pretty good. I had Connor Zilisch top 5 because that was plus money. Thought about going for him to win, but I was like, nah. And I even said it heading into the weekend where Shane Van Gisbergen was like plus 120 or plus 115. It was just something stupid. I was like, I just don't trust it. I feel like at some point the straw on the camel's back has to break at some point. And there will be a road course race. Shocker, I know. But there will be a road course race where Shane Van Gisbergen doesn't win. And he did good, but he wasn't good enough to win. this is kind of like a super speedway road course just because there's long straights. We'd still have like the S's, bus stops, carousels, whatnot, but there's a lot of long straights on Watkins Glen compared to like Sonoma, COULDA. Well, COULDA, we have that one long back straightaway and then the front stretch, and then it's just S's and sharp lefts, sharp rights, whatnot. So, still did good though. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys after we leave the Coliseum. It's Bristol, baby.